Hey guys, so today I'm going to show you how to make a banner for Christmas. I'm going to make it out of burlap and it's going to look a little something like this. I already got my Mary done and now I'm working on Christmas. So the first thing that I did was I made a pattern for my triangles that are going to say Merry Christmas. And I based it off of a stencil that I got at Joann's, and I just wanted to base it off the biggest letter that I was going to use. So that ended up being M. So I just pretty much traced around it until I decided how much space I wanted and how big I wanted the triangle to be compared to how big the letter is. So I just did that, and then at the top I'm actually, I folded it over. Let me show you on my banner. So this is a triangle piece that I have already done, and I just folded the fabric over so that this way the twine can go through it and it doesn't have to be like glued on or stitched on, and that way I can take them off and change the twine if I need to or anything like that. Once I had my pattern all figured out, then I was ready to start cutting. And if you've ever cut with burlap, you know that it starts to fray a lot, so you want to be very careful and not pull or tug at it very much. And you don't really want to use your really nice scissors. So I would suggest not using your ginghams. I would suggest using just plain old store-bought scissors or anything else but your ginghers, because that will not be good for them. So just a little tip there. So, and I really didn't care much about the grain of my burlap. I really liked that they all kind of had a different angle on them with grain wise, so I was fine with that. And then the muslin, it's fine either way, and I just cut out for every letter that I'm doing, and I'm also doing a space in between Merry and Christmas. I just cut out one piece of muslin and one piece of burlap. Once you are done with that step, you are now ready to start sewing. So all I did was I put my muslin piece with my burlap piece, made sure they lined up together, and then I just pinned all the way around. I liked sewing with the burlap on top, and I suggest that because then you make sure you're catching it in your stitches. So I'm just going to pin all the way around, and then I'm going to sew all the way around. So before I started sewing, I made sure I wanted to do a zigzag stitch, so I changed my stitch to a number 3 on my machine. So that is a zigzag. It'll vary from machine to machine. So all I had to do was press up. Here, I'll show you. Go back down. So now I'm at the regular stitch. When you turn it on, this is what it's at. And I go up 3, and that is my zigzag stitch that I'm going to be working with. And then I'm just going to start sewing. When you do get to the corners like I have here, one thing I suggest is leaving the needle down like I have here and lifting the presser foot, and then just turning your fabric. This is called pivoting, and that's going to save you a lot of time, and it's going to save you a little bit of thread, because that way you don't have to cut and keep going and then come back and sew again and again. So this is just a quicker, easier way of sewing. And then I'm just going to continue going around the whole triangle. Once I've completed sewing around the whole triangle, I'm now ready to sew the folded over part like I showed you on the pattern. So that one I just folded over like that, and I'm going to do the same thing with this piece. So I can just fold that part over, and then that will show me how much I need to fold over in here. And I'll flip it over. So this is wrong sides together, and I'll just pin that across. Once I have that pinned, I'm now ready to sew again. And this time I want to sew as close to the edge of this line as possible, because I want to catch it, but I still want to have that room so that I can put the twine through it. So I will do that right now. And the next thing that we're going to do is we are going to put the letter on to the burlap. And what I did is I, of course, used my stencil. So I'm going to do a letter S for the last part of Christmas. And I am going to make sure it's centered the way I want it. And I want to make sure it's high enough, because if you do one low and one high, you're going to have to redo them. Once I have it centered, I actually just use a Sharpie. It's been working great for me, and it looks great. The black and the burlap do a good contrast, and it actually looks a little antique once it's sat for a while. So I really like that look. And all I did was I pushed my stencil down and then just started coloring in, making sure that I wasn't going outside of the stencil that can get you really frustrated. And yes, burlap is rough, so I wouldn't suggest your best Sharpie in the world, but it's worth it in the end. So I just colored all around, and you might want to do this a couple times, let the Sharpie dry, and then do it again. Make sure you get everything and just take it off, and voila! You have a nice looking triangle that has an S on it. Now I'll just go add this to my twine and I will have a nice Christmas banner. So when you're putting the twine through the triangle, the easiest way that I found is to put a safety clip on the end of your twine and then to put it through your hole, and you're going to slowly just scrunch and then pull it through. I know it's a little tedious, but it shouldn't take too long, just depending on how stiff your burlap is. And we don't want to ruin the burlap either, so don't be too rough with it, but just continue pulling it through and it'll come out and you'll be done. So now I am all ready to go hang this in my living room. So here's the rest of mine all done. I really enjoyed making this and I hope you guys do too. It makes me really excited for Christmas and getting out the rest of my Christmas decor. So I hope you guys have a good holiday and hope to see you back soon. Bye!